One contract from Caitlyn Clark was enough to end careers she never even had to compete with.
But even before she makes her pro debut, she has a major Nike deal on the line.
NBC executives are quietly cutting ties with veteran players who once tried to push Caitlyn out. They believed they were untouchable, but the real power was never theirs. Now, the people in charge see the old guard as a liability. While those veterans argue over contracts, Caitlyn Clark is sitting courtside at NBA games, meeting legends and becoming the new face of the sport. The shift happened so fast that most fans didn't even notice. This is no longer just about basketball, it's about survival. The same players who tried to gatekeep the league are now being pushed out of it. When Caitlyn entered the WNBA, she brought massive attention with her. Her first game with the Indiana Fever attracted millions of viewers. Before her arrival, the Fever struggled with low attendance and cheap tickets. After she was drafted, everything changed overnight. Ticket sales exploded, the arena started filling up, and the league finally found the star it didn't know how to handle.
Games of the upcoming WNBA season, and tickets for the Wings are going fast.
Road teams started moving Caitlyn Fever games to bigger arenas because the usual venues couldn't handle the crowd anymore. Demand exploded, and everyone in the league could see it. Sold-out stadiums, merchandise selling fast, and even players gaining followers just because Caitlyn was in the league. But instead of welcoming it, some veterans pushed back. Diana Taurasi publicly said rookies needed to know their place and hinted that Caitlyn wouldn't survive at the pro level. It sounded like advice, but felt more like a warning. Other veterans avoided even saying her name, as if attention itself was a threat. Then things turned physical. Chennedy Carter delivered a hard, intentional hit on Caitlyn that went viral. Angel Reese celebrated it on the sidelines, sending a clear message: this rookie wasn't welcome. After that, the cheap shots kept coming: hard fouls, dirty plays, trash talk, and social media shade. Some veterans even accused the media of bias for focusing on Caitlyn instead of longtime black players. Fans started asking the real question: why are players angry at the one person bringing the league attention? Because the numbers told a harsh truth. Before Caitlyn, the WNBA struggled to pull big audiences. With her, everything changed.
TV viewership numbers, it says the season that began on May 14th.
Before Caitlyn arrived, many WNBA games struggled to reach even a few 100,000 viewers. Arenas were half empty and players were flying commercial because the league couldn't afford more. Now, everything flipped. Arenas are packed, games sell out weeks ahead, ticket prices have tripled, and merchandise sales are breaking records. TV networks are finally competing for broadcast rights instead of treating WNBA games like filler. Yet, the veterans were still complaining. They compared followers, jersey sales, and media attention, but every metric pointed to the same truth. Caitlyn Clark was bringing more money and visibility than the league had ever seen, and instead of thanking her, some tried to push her down. Meanwhile, NBC, Peacock, and the team owners were watching closely. They saw who embraced the spotlight and who fought it. They noted who was good for business and who wasn't. Then came the massive media deal between NBC, the NBA, and the WNBA, worth billions. Everyone expected NBC to promote veteran stars and league legends. Instead, they put Caitlyn on screen with Vince Carter and Carmelo Anthony, breaking down games with LeBron James and Steph Curry. Meanwhile, established WNBA stars like Breanna Stewart and Diana Taurasi were missing from the promotions. NBC had spent billions on the league, and when it came time to choose a face, they didn't pick the past, they picked the future.
Bronze medalists at Paris 2024.
The veterans who stayed loyal during the league's toughest years felt ignored. They had played through empty arenas, low pay, and little media attention, keeping the WNBA alive when it was barely profitable. But instead of rewarding that loyalty, the biggest spotlight went to a rookie with just one season under her belt, Caitlyn Clark. The reaction was anger. Many players felt betrayed after giving decades to the league. Still, NBC wasn't thinking emotionally, they were thinking financially. Loyalty didn't matter, numbers did, and the numbers were impossible to ignore. That's why Peacock began pushing massive WNBA marketing campaigns, built around the one player bringing in the most attention.
I'm the #1 fan, but I'm the #1 salesperson for the WNBA. I want to make sure that people understand who we are.
The Indiana Fever went from having the worst attendance in the league to selling out every home game. Even on the road, attendance doubled when Caitlyn played. NBC tracked viewership minute by minute and found that when Caitlyn Clark sat on the bench, viewers switched channels. Fans were there for her, not the team as a whole. This shattered the WNBA's old model, which relied on the collective rather than individual stars. Revenue sharing and distributed marketing budgets no longer mattered. Streaming numbers confirmed it. Games with Caitlyn averaged 500,000 streams, while games without her averaged just 80,000. That gap meant the difference between profit and loss, and even between keeping a job or getting fired. NBC realized that past championships and veteran legacies didn't drive revenue, current stars did. Caitlyn was now the league's primary product. Meanwhile, the WNBA Players Association was in a labor dispute, demanding higher salaries, better travel, and a bigger revenue share. But the veterans leading the fight lacked leverage. Owners were focused on the numbers.
Basketball writer Dick Weiss posted that more Caitlyn Clark Indiana Fever jerseys were sold in one day.
The league had lost money every year for 25 years, surviving only because the NBA kept funding it. Then Caitlyn arrived, and suddenly profit became possible. Sponsorships rose 40%, merchandise sales broke records, TV ratings jumped, and the Indiana Fever went from losing millions to potentially turning a profit for the first time in franchise history.
Officially a member of the Indiana Fever after has decorated a collegiate career.
The owners know exactly where the money is coming from, and it's not the veterans. It's the rookie they once tried to destroy, Caitlyn Clark. The WNBA Players Association is demanding guaranteed salaries, charter flights, better hotels, and marketing budgets that treat them like NBA stars. But the owners are doing the math. A 10-year veteran earning $200K might bring in $50K in ticket and merchandise revenue, while Caitlyn generates millions. So when threats of strikes arise, the owners aren't worried. They have contracts with Caitlyn, prospects like Paige Bakers entering the draft, and a pipeline of college stars ready to play professionally. The old fear of replacement players no longer matters. Even if rosters were filled with lesser-known players, as long as Caitlyn is on the court, fans will come. She has become the league's ultimate draw, and the owners know it.
Clark, another long three. She's back!
The veterans believed they held the power, thinking the league needed them. But the reality is different. The league now needs Caitlyn Clark. She's already signed with NBC, getting paid regardless of whether the WNBA season happens. This flips the usual labor dynamic. Normally, players hold leverage, because without them, there's no product. But the WNBA product is now one person, Caitlyn, who isn't part of the union fight. She's courtside at Los Angeles Lakers games, earning independently, while the veterans realize their negotiating position is weak. Some union members have even advised backing off the strike. The owners will always side with the young talent that drives revenue over the veterans. The veterans' attempt to block Caitlyn ended up backfiring. In trying to keep her out, they trapped themselves, giving owners the perfect reason to rebuild the league without them. Meanwhile, Nike faced its own choice: sponsor longtime veterans or lean into Caitlyn Clark, who already has a massive endorsement deal, with Super Bowl 60 on the horizon.
Super Bowl 60, it will mark the culmination of two dramatic turnaround seasons.
Nike had the budget for a Super Bowl commercial, but the question was who to feature. In the end, they chose nobody. No Caitlyn Clark ad, no veteran features. Nike didn't want to get caught in the middle of the conflict. Featuring Caitlyn would anger veterans and their supporters. Featuring the veterans risked promoting players with less market appeal. Other brands didn't hesitate. State Farm, Gatorade, and Wilson all doubled down on Caitlyn. Her signature Nike shoe line is set to launch soon, and pre-orders are already smashing records. Meanwhile, veteran players are seeing endorsement deals dry up. Corporate sponsors care about return on investment, not legacy. When Caitlyn posts on Instagram, she gets millions of interactions. Veterans get thousands. That difference drives brand decisions. Even Peacock subscriptions rose 35% during the WNBA season, directly linked to Caitlyn's games. The veterans wanted respect. Corporate America handed them a pink slip instead. As social media erupted over the labor dispute and the possibility of a canceled WNBA season, team owners quietly planned their next move: keep Caitlyn, bring in young talent, and rebuild the league on their terms.
Clark all night tonight.
Are you talking about my high school experience? Clark connects.
Young one here.
The owners could let the veterans walk away, and the numbers justify it. A 10-year veteran earning $200K generates maybe $50K in ticket and merchandise revenue. Caitlyn Clark brings in millions. The math is clear, and NBC has already made its choice. Caitlyn gets a platform beyond the WNBA. She's now featured on NBA broadcasts, building her brand independently, outside the league that once tried to tear her down. Even if the WNBA season is canceled, Caitlyn remains untouchable.
Earlier in the season last year, there was a lot of chatter around it, but I said then when we got into the playoffs, people were hardly talking about it. So I think people love the modern NBA.
Caitlyn still wins. She's on TV, getting paid, and staying relevant. The veterans don't have that safety net. If the WNBA season is canceled, they lose exposure, endorsements, and income with no backup plan. Some veterans are quietly realizing their mistake. Some are even breaking ranks with the union, seeing that fighting Caitlyn may have been the wrong move, but for many, it might already be too late for regrets. This situation is bigger than one league or one player. For the first time, a professional sports league is rebuilding entirely around a single athlete. The WNBA now revolves around Caitlyn Clark. Schedules, marketing, and TV contracts all prioritize her. It's a risky model. What happens if she gets injured? What if she retires early? The league's future is tied directly to one player, and that changes everything.
Caitlyn Clark, who has yet scored. Man, that left foot. That looks very painful.
What if Caitlyn decides to play overseas? The WNBA has put all its eggs in one basket. If she disappears, the league could collapse. But the owners had no choice. Returning to empty arenas and 200,000 viewers wasn't an option. They chose survival over nostalgia. The veterans are learning a harsh lesson. Past championships and years in the league don't matter. Only current value does. And right now, they can't match Caitlyn. Future WNBA players are watching. Talent alone isn't enough. Marketability matters just as much, if not more. You must be good at basketball and good for business. The game has changed. The veterans tried to stop it and failed. 22 years ago, Caitlyn Clark was just a college sharpshooter. Today, she's the reason veterans are losing contracts. NBC didn't act out of cruelty. They acted because the numbers left them no choice. When one player generates more value than an entire generation of veterans, the decision is clear. The veterans had the chance to lift Caitlyn up and rise with her. Instead, they tried to bury her and themselves. Now they sit at home while she sits courtside at NBA games. The owners aren't coming back, the networks won't reverse course, and business has moved on. The league no longer belongs to the veterans. It belongs to the girl from Iowa they couldn't break, and she's only getting started.